Okay, so quick video on printing with rainbow PLA. There's some of the cheaper end of brands like Sunlu or Everyone do a colour changing rainbow silk, and it gives, or can give, a lovely finish if you get the settings right. But it's quite a strange one to get right, really. So what we've got on the left here is just bog basic, cheap as chips, been out, probably full of damp PLA that I've had for absolutely ages. That's just a test cube. All of these, you can see it's getting slightly better here, were with exactly the same settings, trying to get this nice multicoloured rainbow silk PLA to print properly. And yeah, you sort of think, well, that's sort of showing signs of a bit too hot, so up the cooling fan. Yeah, put 100%, still not massively helping. You can see on this XYZ cube here, it's going to focus. Let's try to get it to focus. There we go. That, you know, it's quite nice, but then at the corners and anywhere where it has to do any detail, it's badly over extruded, or not cooled quick enough. You know, it's not obvious which to start with. Or on some of them, when you're getting a little bit nearer like this, you're like, well, okay, maybe it's the accelerations and jerk and this, that, and the other, or flow rate. You can see it's quite, you know, it's lifted up quite a bit here. These have all started to stack up on each other and give the impression the flow rate's too high, which it might be. And then, you know, these four here, these were all printed at the same time. And you can see that they've actually come out a bit better. So there's definite clues that it's partly to do with cooling. But these, unfortunately, I've lost my digital calipers right now. I can't find them anywhere. But these infill lines are it's one line of infill. That's on standard flow settings, same as this PLA here for this nice cube. Not far off, probably getting close towards a millimetre thick, that out of a 0.6 nozzle. So after loads of messing about and checking that the hot end was calibrated right and all sorts of things inside the printers, I use Duet Wi-Fi, sort of very easy to play around with and fix if you know what you're doing, and change things. Eventually ended up with, let's get all these out of the way, these, which are you know, very nice and sharp, and that edge not amazing, but that's probably retraction. But everywhere else is pretty good. Odd little tiny bit of under extrusion, zits here and there. These were both printed at the same time, and that's got a lot more dimensional accuracy to do it. Yeah, the long and short of it all is I had to change the settings in Cura from a flow rate, this is with calibrated extruders. It's not with some dodgy extruder that's pushing way more out than it should be doing, but with calibrated extruders, the flow rate is that. So temperatures, yep, 200, fine. 80. Oh, actually, no, that's not quite right. These were printed with 75% flow rate. So that's 25% down on what you'd do for normal PLA. And I guess probably one of the clues is, when I first started printing with this stuff, I just jumped in and assumed it was just like PLA and just printed stuff, and I was printing large things, so there's plenty of time for any over extrusion on layers to cool down before the next layer, so it wasn't very apparent. But as soon as you jump to the bog standard, right, I'm just going to tune the dial settings in now and go to, you know, a calibration cube of something, it really does show up the problems of over extrusion and not enough cooling. But yeah, so anyway, yeah, you've got to reduce the flow. I've done it with 75%, but I'm actually, just to tweak it, just to get rid of some of these surface imperfections, putting it back up to 80. But that is like a major a major deviation from tweaking flows normally for, you know, between ABS and normal PLA or maybe PETG. It's quite substantial. But yeah, you can see it gives quite a lovely, nice effect to it when it's printed. Yeah, I guess the only other obvious thing that might have given that away was when you extrude it out of the nozzle, just to, you know, do a purge or just flow a stream out or load filament. Instead of getting a nice sort of, you know, a nice thin stream of 0.6-ish or 0.4 or whatever your nozzle is, diameter bead of plastic coming out, you get this really fat. I've got an example. I might have an example of it. Yeah, a really fat blob of material, and it looks like it's been. Ah, here we go. This might. Yeah, there you go. That is the thickness of the stuff coming out, and that was, you know, not ramming it out of the nozzle. That was what, at a rate of 5 millimeters a second, and you get something like that. Whereas if you were to extrude normal plastic, normal in quotes PLA, you just get a 0.6 mil. But you can see by eye that is nowhere near 0.6 mil extrusion. It's ridiculous. So maybe if I was thinking better and more awake, I probably would have just jumped straight into over extrusion. But yeah, I was surprised that I've had to reduce it by over 20% in flow rate to get it anywhere near like giving, you know, nice edges and accurate lines. But yeah, only other thing to mention with this PLA, so you can get different versions of this rainbow stuff, and if you're thinking, oh great, I can print I don't know, a little miniature thing, you know, this sort of size, it's going to be like multicolored. Well, you can do, but if you just print it as it is, as you can see, you've got pretty much zero color change on there, and that's because generally there's two types. It's sort of this rainbow color where it changes every, I think it's maybe 10 meters or so on the reel, maybe 15. So you've got to use quite a bit of filament to be able to get layer changes. So I guess it is doable if you were to print, I don't know, 30 of these or 20 of your models or whatever at once on a build plate. You'd eventually start to cycle through the colours on the reel, or you've got to print something pretty big, or you've got to print it with a lot of shells, or, you know, dense infill, or less dense infill but with multiple infill lines, just to use up some of the plastic to get it to the colour changes. So that's something to be aware of on some of the rainbow filaments. The other rainbow filaments that you can get are something, look for the word mini in there, and basically they tend to colour change every 5-ish meters or so, so you've got a bit of a better chance of getting multicolours on your prints. But yeah, it prints nice. I mean, I normally make engineering parts, and obviously I'm not going to make any engineering parts out of this stuff, but for making things for my daughter and making nice little decorative ornaments, you can get some quite nice effects with it, and it does have a nice finish. Okay, I hope you found it useful. Bye for now.